I got the text at 9:47 a.m. on a Saturday, "Amy, don't come to the barbecue today. Trust me." My younger brother Jason had never told me to skip a family event. Not once in 32 years. So I knew, whatever was waiting for me at my parents' backyard in Scottsdale, Arizona, it was going to hurt. Let me rewind. 6 months earlier, my life looked pretty perfect on paper. I was a senior project manager at a tech consulting firm in Phoenix, pulling in a solid 6 figures. My husband, Daniel, worked in sales for a medical device company. We'd been married for 8 years. No kids yet, but we were talking about it. Jason, my baby brother, was 27, 5 years younger than me. He'd always been the charming one, the one who could talk his way out of anything. He worked at a car dealership, lived in a decent apartment in Tempe, and showed up to family dinners with a new girlfriend every few months. We were close. Or I thought we were. If you've ever trusted the wrong people with your whole heart, tell me where you're watching from. I want to know I'm not alone in this. It started small. Daniel began working late, 2-3 nights a week. He'd come home smelling like bourbon and cologne, claiming client dinners were running long. I didn't question it. I trusted him. Then I noticed Jason pulling away. He stopped answering my calls. When I'd text him funny memes or ask if he wanted to grab lunch, I'd get one-word replies. Busy. Can't. Later. At Sunday dinners, he wouldn't look at me. He'd sit at the far end of the table, laughing with our dad, but whenever I tried to join the conversation, he'd go quiet. My mom noticed. "What's going on with you two?" she asked me once, while we were clearing plates. "I have no idea," I told her. And I didn't. So when that text came through, "Don't come to the barbecue today. Trust me." I sat in my car in the driveway and stared at it for a full minute. I texted back, "Why not?" 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then nothing. I called him. Straight to voicemail. That's when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. And I wasn't going to sit home wondering what it was. I put the car in reverse and drove to my parents' house. I could hear the music before I even opened the gate, classic rock, my dad's favorite. The smell of burgers on the grill. Laughter. I walked around the side of the house and into the backyard. There were maybe 20 people there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors. My mom was by the drink table. My dad was at the grill, flipping patties with a beer in his other hand. And then I saw them. Daniel. My husband. Sitting in a lawn chair near the pool. With his arm around a woman I didn't recognize. She was young, mid-20s, maybe. Long dark hair. Sundress. Laughing at something he'd just said. And Jason was standing right next to them, holding a beer, grinning like it was the most normal thing in the world. My chest went tight. My hands went cold. I stood there, frozen, while my brain tried to catch up with what my eyes were seeing. My mom spotted me first. "Amy." "Oh, honey, I didn't think you were coming." Everyone turned. Including Daniel. His face went white. The girl looked confused. She glanced at Daniel, then at me, then back at Daniel. "Amy," my mom said, walking over with a nervous smile. "This is Daniel's coworker, Vanessa. She's new to Phoenix, so we invited her to join us today." Coworker. I looked at Daniel. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Jason. He took a long drink of his beer and looked at the ground. "Hi," I said to Vanessa. My voice sounded far away, even to me. "I'm Amy. Daniel's wife." The smile fell off her face. "Oh my God," she whispered. "If you've ever had the ground disappear beneath your feet in front of your whole family, drop a comment. Because I need you to know, you're not crazy for how that felt." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't make a scene. I just turned around and walked back to my car. Behind me, I could hear my mom calling my name. I could hear Daniel say, "Amy, wait." I didn't wait. I got in my car, locked the doors, and sat there shaking. My phone buzzed. "Daniel, please let me explain." Then Jason, "I'm sorry. I tried to warn you." I threw my phone into the passenger seat and drove home. Daniel came home 2 hours later. I was sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, staring at the wall. "Amy," he said quietly. "I'm so sorry." "How long?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. "How long?" 4 months. 4 months. A third of a year. While I was working 60-hour weeks, planning our future, talking about starting a family. "And Jason knew?" Daniel nodded. He introduced us. Vanessa's his coworker's sister. We all went out one night after work, and... Stop. I held up my hand. Jason knew. This whole time. And he didn't tell me. He told me to end it, Daniel said quickly. He said I was being an idiot. He said. But he didn't tell me. Silence. I stood up. Get out. Amy. Get out. He left. The worst part wasn't the affair. It was realizing that my entire family had watched it happen at that barbecue. My parents had invited her. They'd smiled at her. They'd made small talk. And Jason, my little brother, who I'd protected from bullies in middle school, who I'd helped get his first car loan, who I'd trusted with everything, had stood there and let it happen. I called him that night. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. My voice cracked. I thought if I told Daniel to end it, he would. I thought I could fix it without hurting you. You let me walk into that. I sent you a text, he said defensively. I tried to warn you. A vague text isn't a warning, Jason. You should have told me the truth weeks ago. He didn't have an answer for that. I hung up. Tap the like button if betrayal by family cuts deeper than anything else. Because it does. I filed for divorce the following Monday. Daniel tried to fight it at first, said it was a mistake, said he'd end things with Vanessa, said we could go to counseling. I didn't respond. My lawyer was efficient. Arizona is a no-fault divorce state, but we had assets to split. The house, the cars, savings, retirement accounts. Daniel had been sloppy. He'd used our joint credit card for hotel rooms, dinners, gifts. My lawyer smiled when she saw the statements. This'll make things easier. We settled out of court. I got the house, my car, and 70% of our joint savings. Daniel got his car and his guilt. The whole process took 4 months. In that time, I didn't speak to Jason. I didn't go to family dinners. I didn't return my mom's calls. I shut everyone out and focused on one thing, rebuilding. Here's what people don't tell you about betrayal, it can fuel you. I threw myself into work. I took on every project, every client presentation, every late-night strategy session. I became indispensable. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, my boss called me into her office. "Amy," she said, "we're opening a new branch in Denver. I want you to lead it. VP of Operations. 20% raise. Full relocation package." I didn't even hesitate. "I'll take it." 2 weeks later, I accepted an even better offer. A competitor in Phoenix wanted me as their director of strategy. Higher pay. Better title. And I wouldn't have to leave. I took that one instead. By the time I started my new role, I was making nearly double what I'd made before. I bought a sleek condo downtown with a view of the city. I started going to the gym. I got a new wardrobe. I built a life I was proud of. And I did it without Daniel. Without Jason. Without anyone who'd ever made me feel small. I was in my new office, corner view, glass walls, everything I'd worked for, when my phone buzzed. "Jason, Amy, I need to talk to you. It's important." I stared at the message. I hadn't heard from him since the divorce. I didn't reply. An hour later, another text, "Please. It's about Daniel." Still nothing. Then my mom called. "Amy, sweetheart, Jason really needs your help. Can you please just talk to him?" "Why?" I asked coldly. She hesitated. "He's in trouble. Legal trouble. And Daniel's involved." That got my attention. "What kind of trouble?" "I don't know the details," she said. "But he said you're the only one who can help." I hung up and stared out my window at the city below. Then I texted Jason back, "My office. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. The next morning, I was reviewing contracts when my assistant buzzed me. "Amy, you have visitors." I looked up. Jason walked in first. He looked terrible, thinner, older, exhausted. His hands were shaking. And behind him was Daniel. My ex-husband. The man who'd betrayed me. The man I hadn't seen in 6 months. They both stood in the doorway like guilty children. I leaned back in my chair and folded my arms. "Close the door." Jason did. "Sit." They sat. I didn't say anything. I just waited. Finally, Jason spoke. "Amy, we messed up." "You messed up 6 months ago," I said evenly. "What do you want now?" Daniel cleared his throat. "We're being investigated. For fraud." I raised an eyebrow. "Fraud?" "At the dealership," Jason said quickly. We were inflating trade-in values. Selling cars under the table. Pocketing the difference. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal, but you got caught." He nodded miserably. "And Daniel's involved because I helped him set up the LLC," Daniel admitted. "For the side sales." I didn't think. "You didn't think," I repeated. "Seems to be a pattern with you too. Subscribe if you want to see how this ends. Because what I did next changed everything." "We could go to jail," Jason said. His voice cracked. "Amy, please. You know people. You have connections. You work with lawyers, consultants, executives. You could help us find someone who." "Why would I do that?" Silence. "You let my husband cheat on me," I said quietly. "You stood there at that barbecue and watched me walk into the worst moment of my life. You didn't protect me. You didn't warn me. You chose him over me. I'm your brother, Jason whispered. You stopped being my brother the day you looked me in the eye and lied. Daniel leaned forward. Amy, I know I don't deserve anything from you. I know I destroyed our marriage. But Jason's your family. Please. Don't let him go down because of my mistakes. I looked at them both. These two men who'd humiliated me. Who'd broken me. Who were now sitting in my office, begging for the mercy they'd never shown me. And I smiled. I'll help you, I said. Jason's face flooded with relief. Thank you. God, Amy, thank you. On one condition. They both froze. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a file. I slid it across the desk. What's this? Daniel asked. A confession. Written and signed by both of you. Admitting exactly what you did, the affair, the lies, the fraud. Everything. Jason's face went pale. Amy. You sign it, I make a call. I have a friend who's a criminal defense attorney. One of the best in the state. He owes me a favor. He can probably get your charges reduced, maybe even dismissed if you cooperate with the investigation. And if we don't sign? Daniel asked. Then you're on your own. And based on what you just told me, you'll both be in prison by Christmas. They stared at the papers. This is blackmail, Jason said quietly. No, I corrected. This is accountability. You want my help? You admit what you did. On paper. Legally binding. Daniel picked up the pen first. He signed. Jason looked at me. Amy. I'm sorry. I really am. I know, I said. Sign it. He did. I made the call right there, in front of them. My friend picked up on the second ring. Marcus, I said. I'm calling in that favor. 20 minutes later, it was done. Marcus agreed to take their case. He'd meet with them that afternoon, review the evidence, and start building a defense. Thank you, Jason said as they stood to leave. I mean it. Thank you. I didn't respond. As they reached the door, I said, Jason. He turned. Don't ever contact me again. His face crumbled, but he nodded. They left. I sat alone in my office, staring at the signed confessions in front of me. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt free. Comment below if you've ever had to choose between revenge and peace. Because that moment taught me more than any betrayal ever could. Marcus did his job. Jason and Daniel cooperated with the investigation, provided evidence against the dealership's owner, and got plea deals. Jason got probation and community service. Daniel got a fine and a suspended sentence. They both lost their jobs. Daniel moved back east to stay with his parents. I heard through my mom that he and Vanessa broke up. Jason stayed in Phoenix, working construction and trying to rebuild his life. I ran into him once, about a year later, at a coffee shop in Scottsdale. He saw me and froze. I nodded at him. He nodded back. We didn't speak. Here's what I learned: betrayal doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It reveals who you are when everything falls apart. It reveals who's really in your corner. And it reveals what you're capable of when you stop waiting for someone else to save you. I didn't get revenge. I got something better. I got my power back. I didn't need them to suffer. I needed them to understand that actions have consequences. That trust, once broken, doesn't just heal because you're sorry. And I needed to prove to myself that I could survive without them. I did more than survive. I thrived. 2 years later, I'm still in Phoenix. Still at the same firm, now as Senior VP. I bought a second property in Sedona as an investment. I traveled to Italy, to Japan, to places I'd always wanted to see but never made time for. I started dating again, slowly, carefully. I'm learning to trust again, but this time, I'm listening to my instincts. My relationship with my parents is complicated. We talk occasionally. I go to some family events. But I keep my distance. I've learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. As for Jason and Daniel, I don't think about them much anymore. They're footnotes in a chapter I've already closed. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to walk away from people you loved because staying would have cost you yourself, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment telling me, what would you have done? That text, "Don't come to the barbecue. Trust me," was supposed to protect me. But sometimes protection looks like exposure. Sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you is also the thing that sets you free. I'm grateful for that barbecue now. I'm grateful I walked into my office that day and saw 2 broken men who thought I'd save them without question. Because it taught me the most important lesson of all: the only person responsible for saving you is you. And once you learn that, no one can ever take your power away again. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're my people. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real stories, and remember, you're stronger than the worst thing that ever happened to you. I'm Amy. And this is my story.